Last week's sermon was about 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 2 to 16. And in that text, Paul is dealing with how men and women are to differently display God's glory in public worship, revealing God's character, specifically according to their beautiful, intentional, distinct creation design as male and female. And there were lots and lots of things that could have been said that were left on the desk, many of which would relate to contemporary application to our time and our place in the church today, because the specific indicators of masculinity and femininity in the first century Greco-Roman Corinthian culture would have been different than ours. And yet, there are continuing principles that still apply. And the tricky part is doing that application with discernment, with grace, and with biblical grounding. But interestingly, the one specific question I received from multiple people was, what does it mean when it says in verse 10 that a wife ought to have a symbol of authority on her head because of the angels? In other words, okay, we can debate what appropriate signals of authority mean in today's church, but here's the question many people ask me: what do the angels have to do with that? Well, truthfully, there isn't a lot of scholarly consensus about the phrase, but here are some thoughts about what this might be telling us. It's probably a reminder that when the church comes together for worship, we aren't alone in that. In other words, God's representatives are in the room as witnesses, invisible heavenly beings present as the church gathers. Now, on the one hand, that might serve as a motivation for obedience to the principles that Paul is outlining in this text. It's also a reminder that there's more at stake in this whole discussion than what we might think. In other words, he's saying, hey guys, it's not about the hats and the hair here. It's a bigger question than that. It's a heavenly question about worship. And the angels, well, they know how to worship, and they're watching. It's also a reminder, the inclusion of this phrase, about the importance of respecting our assigned roles and boundaries in worship. The angels understand perfectly, and they reflect this in their approach to worship. They understand their relationship to God, their boundaries, their roles. An angel doesn't question God by saying, God, why didn't you make me a human? No, an angel accepts joyfully who they are and the role God assigned for them to play in the great drama of the heavens. And therefore, so should we. Rejoicing in God's design for us, male and female, thanking God for the beautiful, unique design with which he made us, rather than rebelling against it. And in this little comment of the angels, in this way, this fits exactly into the main point that Paul was trying to make in these verses. Thanks for the question, for the opportunity to offer a few thoughts that I had for something that was left on the desk.